SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C Spire. Power your home or business with C Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C Spire. C Spire Fiber powers Super Talk Mississippi. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
It's Thursday afternoon. France and Morocco are playing, so that's always a plus. It's Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Hadad here with you on a Thursday. We're in the Pearl River Resort studios. Pearl River Resort. We need to get back to Pearl River Resort. It's been too long since we were there. Perhaps we should get on that, because I like to go there. I like to eat good food. I like to have a great time. I like to enjoy live entertainment. I'm not much of a golfer, but I'll drive the cart if nothing else. You can make all those things happen for yourself with a quick trip to PearlRiverResort.com. Book your stay, book your weekend. Do it now, PearlRiverResort.com. C Spire text line is open to you at 601-879-4395. Tax-free weekend starts tomorrow, July 10th through 12th, and it is even better at C Spire. Get the best deals and skip the taxes on any new phone. It's perfect to switch or upgrade your device and save even more while you're at it. Plus, you definitely need to check out the latest deals at C Spire before they're gone, like a free iPhone 17 Pro Max or free Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra with trade-in. Shop now at cspire.com or visit your local C Spire store today. C Spire, customer inspired. But wait a minute. If I'm here and Borky's not here, then who's producing the show?
If I'm the Undertaker,
Yeah.
does that make you Give it to me.
It's Willie's.
Oh, there's a snake.
Look, I gotta zoom this camera out. Look how big my head is. Let me just go all the way with it here.
You're playing the part of Paul. Where's your urn?
He will rest in peace. That's too. I went too far. This camera can be iffy sometimes. All right, here we go. Will East is in Studio X, making sure everything runs according to plan, or at least our best approximations of those things. We got a good show lined up for you here today. Our friend John Talty will join us in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll talk a little college football with him. And then the 5 o'clock hour, a conversation I had earlier today with Northwest Mississippi soccer coach James Beatty. We've had him on the show many times before to talk about his program, but I wanted to talk to him because for a number of reasons. One, he's a native son of Scotland and was at Scotland's games in the World Cup earlier this summer. He is a man who, as a child, was in the academy system over there in England, and that's been a big focus of discussion lately. They talk about youth soccer and how it operates in America versus how it operates in the rest of the world. So I want to get his thoughts on that and just some thoughts on the World Cup. I thought it was a fun conversation. Borky's not here, so I'm going to do what I want, basically. I have, as the French say, carte blanche.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means, yeah. I have what the French call a certain I don't know what. So
he's got a great accent, too.
Yeah, people, whenever we have him on, people are like, that guy's awesome. He just sounds likable.
Yeah.
I don't, which is the opposite of me from what I've been told. So earlier today, though, I saw that the Yahoo is doing college fantasy football. Did you see this?
College fantasy football.
Now, I am a big fantasy footballsman. Two-time defending champion of my league.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Two-time. Double champ.
I had to split my championship year. It was when the player got hurt for the Buffalo Bills, and they canceled the game. You remember that?
Yeah.
I was in the league.
He didn't get hurt. He died.
Yeah. And then came back.
Yeah, he did come back.
I was in the league.
Only 2 people ever in the history of the world.
But the guy I was playing, but all my players were done.
Yeah.
That was Monday Night Football. The guy I was playing had Josh Allen, and he would have surpassed me. I mean, it was like 2 points.
That's only fair then.
Yeah. So we split it.
Wow.
So
college fantasy football announced today. Now, they took a little heat because they're only doing Power 4 schools. And a lot of the Group of 6 school fans talked about it. And I get it. Look.
You got to limit it somehow.
Well, that's the thing. Even with the Power 4, you're talking about more than double the teams that are in the NFL. And 85-man roster, more than double the players. So, I mean, this is already an unwieldy number. I get it, right? I can't. It's difficult to keep up. You'd have to be a real sicko to know, like, okay, there's this guy in the MAC who I know is going to rush for 1,800 yards. I get it. But it got me thinking, like, here in the state of Mississippi, you can win some games with some Mississippi players. And honestly, if he pans out, if he is what we think, Kamario Taylor could be an elite fantasy football player quarterback. Because you know this as well. Dual threat quarterbacks are what win leagues, right? Everybody's going to get the passing yards. If I'm going to get 600 or 700 rushing yards out of a quarterback, if I'm going to get 8 to 10 touchdowns rushing out of the quarterback, well, now that's how I'm going to win a championship. I think the Trinidad Chambliss, though, by that same token, can be an easy choice near the top. Although I will say this. I was thinking about this. We talk about this on tomorrow's Thunder and Lightning. The quarterback position in a fantasy college draft is going to be way overrated.
Yeah.
Because, like, the 16th best quarterback in college football, I mean, if I said that's Gunnar Stockton, that's a guy you know is going to pile up numbers, right? He's going to have huge numbers. You have the 16th best quarterback in your fantasy NFL league, you suck.
Well, you're middle of the road.
Your team is bad.
I mean, your team is bad. You're middle.
I wouldn't take a quarterback before, like, the 10th or 11th pick. Like, I'm going to be down before I take a quarterback because there's just going to be so many of them.
And to the matchups, because
oh yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming that you can take a guy who's playing against the Citadel or somebody,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're thinking like you're looking at week 1, right?
All right, give me week 1's cupcakes.
So, like, yeah, exactly. If you are playing, if you could get Gunnar Stockton. Now, here's the problem: is that they're playing Tennessee State, but how much of the game is he going to play? And how much is Georgia really going to throw it against a SWAC team?
See, that's where
that's an issue.
It's interesting.
That's an issue. But Mississippi State against ULM, Jeff Lebby needs to get people talking, right? He might let Kamario
He's got to put a 60 burger up.
Exactly. Oklahoma playing UTEP. That's a group of 6 school. Mateer probably going to have a huge game in that one. So yeah, you're right. Like it's going to be very super. In when you play NFL fantasy football, your quarterback's just your quarterback, right? Like last year, I had Jared Goff, just my quarterback, right? It doesn't matter if they're playing the Packers, the Bears, the Ravens. He's just who I had starting most games. In college, I would absolutely be picking and choosing on these matchups. I might not have the same quarterback more than 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
you could play that game where you're just like, I'm just going to draft a quarterback with the last pick, and then I'll just play it week to week.
And then you want to go for a team.
Yeah.
You want your quarterback. That's why Kamario Taylor's a great pick because defense.
He's going to have the ball. He should have the ball. He's going to be like, we're playing from behind again. That could be the case.
I got to throw the ball and run a bunch.
Now, again, you play fantasy. You know that elite running backs. That's the guys to go first, right? So Kejuan Lacey is going to be like a first, second, third pick in a lot of these drafts, I bet.
Yeah, and
especially with Ahmad Hardy not knowing what's the deal with him yet.
Yeah,
Lacey is probably the surest thing you got at the running back position.
And see, wide receiver's not as valuable to me
unless you're playing PPR.
Yeah.
If you're playing PPR, a guy like Anthony Evans at Mississippi State is he's going to catch 70 passes this year. Caught 67 last year. He'll probably catch more this year. So if I'm going to get 70 points right off the top before I get the yards and the touchdown. That's incredibly valuable. But same thing, though. Now can we find running backs who catch a lot of passes? Lacey is not one of those. Fluff Bothwell is not one either. So I just thought it's interesting. Like, two of the top quarterbacks in college fantasy football are just right here in the state of Mississippi. Now with Chambliss, we know what we've got. We know he's going to be fine. Taylor, we still have to see what the case is going to be with him, but I feel confident he's going to be really good for Mississippi State. So this year when you're playing fantasy, and apparently it's saying this isn't new. Yahoo used to have it, but had to drop it after COVID. Remember, Kylan Hill racked up points with LSU versus LSU with Leach. He had like 170 yards receiving in that game.
I don't remember them having this.
I have some friends that play college, but it's different than just like a draft, or it's like one of those things where you pick up guys. It's different. It's different somehow. I don't know. I've never gotten involved. I feel like a SuperTalk fantasy college football league is coming, though. Yeah. I'm in here trying to work on these brackets right now, so we'll see how that goes. All right, when we come back, we're going to jump right into our top 5.
Okay.
And I want you guys to get ready for it with on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Your top 5 favorite plays for State and Ole Miss. Not best, not biggest, not most important. Just favorite. I'll tell you mine. Will tell you his when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi, just getting started with you.
From the flatlands of Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi.
Every minute worth waiting for.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi back with you here on a Thursday. Question here on the C Spire text line: who would be your all-time college fantasy quarterback? To me, there are two options here. Here's where we're going to go. Cam Newton, 2010 Heisman Trophy winner, 2,854 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, 1,473 yards rushing, 20 touchdowns. He also had a receiving touchdown, so he was responsible for 55 scores. So that feels like a pretty solid one there. The other one that came to mind was Johnny Manziel. Manziel, his Heisman year, throws for 3,706 yards, 26 touchdowns, rushes for 1,410 and 21 touchdowns. He was actually a better passer the next year, 4,114 with 37 touchdowns, and he rushed for 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. Either one of those years. Those are the two answers. Tebow might be in the conversation, but it's, again, dual threat has got to be the answer. You got to go dual threat.
One of the guys that I'm going to highlight in my top 5 might have been one of those people.
Well, let's just get right into it. So this is what this is. Today's top 5 is, I want this is literally just for me and Will more than anything else. Like, it is his favorite plays from Ole Miss ever, whenever, if he saw them, if he didn't, if it's historic, I don't care, whatever it is. Same with me from Mississippi State. It is all about our own. This is about us. This is something for us. We're going to be selfish here.
Yeah.
We deserve it.
Finally, something for us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. You have been at home with a new baby. Everybody's, with your wife. They're like, oh, she does. What about Will East?
What about me?
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. This is for you, Will. What's your number 5?
I'm going to, a little recency bias here.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Trinidad to Kejuan Lacey, Sugar Bowl. It's only an 8-yard play. It only gets a first down.
Mm-hmm.
But chill bumps.
Yeah.
Okay? Chill bumps. It was fourth quarter. Again, it was 3rd and 7, I believe. It's the play that kind of sparked that drive and then led to the win against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl in the college football playoff last year, or I guess it was earlier this year.
Mm-hmm. That's hard to believe, but you're correct. It was this year.
It was this year. Yes.
It feels like a million years ago.
I mean, the Georgia defender is an inch away from absolute disaster because Trinidad runs to his own end zone, tosses the ball. Kejuan catches it, of course, and then has to bounce off another Georgia defender to get the first down.
Mm-hmm.
a game-changing moment, one of the biggest plays, but personally, one of my favorites because I was standing in my kitchen because I refused to go into the living room because every time I went in the living room, something bad happened, so I had to stay in the kitchen. In
terms of just, we're saying these are favorite or whatever, but that would also make a list of the biggest plays, for sure. My number 5, this is just pure spite at this point, but Cedric Giles' pick 6 in the 2016 Egg Bowl. Look, it's already, at that moment, it's already 48-20 Mississippi State. The hay is in the barn. The game is over. But Cedric Giles, a guy who battled a lot of injuries at Mississippi State, never quite lived up to the promise that he had. On the last play there, or towards the end, Shea Patterson just throws a little duck, and Akeem Judd can't handle it. It bobbles it up, and Giles grabs it, spins out, and takes off running. I remember cackling maniacally as I was like, oh, my God, we're going to put up 50 on them. And
50 burger.
I always that play just makes me smile when I think about it. So I'm going to go with that one. That's the 2016 Egg Bowl, the cherry on top of the sundae that day. Cedric Giles is
season was just
not a great one, not a memorable one.
You almost beat Florida State. You almost beat Alabama. The wheels fall off.
Yeah. All right, what do you got for number 4?
Speaking of cackling, this one always makes me cackle. Let's go to our old buddies.
Oh no, he's
Vern
got audio.
Lundquist and Gary Anderson.
I know what it is.
With 1 second left.
Oh.
Get your field goal team on.
Uh-oh.
You have to get your field goal team
I don't know what it is. I do know what it is now.
LSU.
Oh, my gosh.
Ole Miss.
You don't have time to ground the
2009. Les Miles clock management at its finest.
Tolliver.
Here it goes.
What are they doing? You don't have time to ground the ball. What are they doing? Game over.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Personal favorite of mine. I just love the look of Les Miles' face.
Yeah, Miles, I remember that, and he's just like,
He's like, I thought I had like 8 seconds left.
He may have said a word I can't say on the air, or at least he thought it for sure. You're just watching that, and you're like, they pay these guys, at that time, probably he probably made like $3.5 million a year, and we thought that was big money. But you're like, we pay these guys millions of dollars, and like, a 12-year-old who plays Madden knows how to manage the clock.
You're going to spike it with 1 second left.
What are you doing? What is he doing? Yeah, that's a good. I got to be honest, I don't know if it's on the list or not, but I thought that was going to be a different play. When you said Vern Lundquist, I thought it was going to be something different. If it makes the list, I'll let you know. So my number 4.
All right.
So I went in the Wayback Machine here for the first really big play that I remember in my life. Watching this game with my dad. This was like the first year that TBS was doing. Remember when TBS had the 11?
I remember when it. Yep.
Yeah, and Mississippi State at Tennessee, Rocky Felker's first year. Don Smith's 65-yard touchdown to silence Neyland Stadium and give the Bulldogs the win on Rocky Top. I can remember that play like it was. Thankfully, it's still on YouTube, so I can go back and watch it when I want to. But that is like the first play. I would have been 10 that I truly remember. I went to games before that, but I couldn't tell you too much about those games. I just don't have a lot of memory. Now, maybe part of that is because I didn't see Mississippi State win in person until I was 15. Maybe I blocked out some of those things. But that is the play that I come back to a lot of Don Smith. Don Smith is a guy, born way ahead of his time. The way
for the Bills, scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Yeah, as a running back, but he would have been hell on wheels in today's spread. Offenses with more mobile quarterbacks. So that's my number 4 is right. Don Smith. We got time. What's your number 3?
Number 3, I'm going to go again. This is another one that was just a huge. You top 5 biggest plays in Ole Miss football history. Sinquez's Golson's interception in 2014. The thing that stood out to me the most was I was at the game in 2011 when Sinquez was a freshman.
Oh,
and
that was
a
bad
player
one.
by the name of Trent Richardson, running back for Alabama, juked Sinquez, not once, but twice on a touchdown run, and just embarrassed. That was when the gap between Ole Miss and Alabama was at its largest. And to see where they came, 3 years later, and the fact that it was Sinquez that got that interception, he'll never have to buy another beer in Oxford, Mississippi ever again. Because
it's interesting that you picked that because in the moment you didn't think it was what it was. You had to go. You had to sit through the replay and wait.
But it's that replay that goes back over, and it was Blake
that
Sims.
Moment. Were you at the? You weren't. Were you? I know this is the day we've talked about before, where you texted me like a jerk that day. But were you in the stadium?
I was not at the stadium. I had to work like an hour later. I had to get on air an hour later to do a music show. And, of course, I'd had a couple drinks by this time.
I bet, yeah.
And somebody gave me a cowbell when I went into the station, and I was ringing the cowbell, making fun of Mississippi State for beating, was it Auburn or Texas A&M?
A&M.
A&M, yeah. And just being a complete jerk. But
you are the worst. But what I was going to say is, like, I wonder, and I'm sure I could go back and find the tape, but, like, there has to be that moment where they show the play on the Jumbotron and everybody's like, oh!
Yeah.
Oh,
because he was so far back.
Yeah,
you didn't know if it. I don't know if that was a review.
Like watching it on TV, I remember like, all right, it's incomplete. They'll go again. And then I was like, I saw the first replay, and I was like, I said a word that I can't say on the air. I was like, you got to be kidding me! He picked that off, and they kept showing the replay. I was like, that's an interception. Yeah. This game's over. Yep. And yeah, that what a day of football that was here in the Magnolia State. I got time for my number 3. Just again, personal favorites. One of my favorite players making one of the craziest plays, DeCenzo Miller, 2000 against BYU.
Oh,
had a 78-yard catch and run where, I'm just saying, we're just saying that BYU, they had some lunch pail guys on their defense, some gritty guys.
Yeah.
They weren't prepared for DeCenzo Miller. Maybe one of the finest pieces of open field running you will ever see. Just breaking tackles, weaving around guys, going from one end of the field to the other. And, of course, in the mountain air, by the time he gets to the end zone, he's probably actually run 150 yards. He collapses into the end zone, needing oxygen at that point. It's just a fun play to watch. And it was on a Thursday night. You got Tirico, Herbstreit, and Corso on the call. They're like, DeCenzo Miller, what's he doing? It's fantastic. It's a great college football play.
Yeah, DeCenzo Miller, did he play at West Lauderdale? Where did he play high school?
Weir.
He played at Weir.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have that mountain air in Weir, Mississippi.
No, very flat area there just south of Starkville. So, all right, top 2 favorite plays for Mississippi State and Ole Miss from Will East and myself. We'll do those when we come back, and we'll get yours on the C Spire text line. Send them in, 601-879-4395. Back in just a minute here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
From the Seabrook.
Check this out.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
All right, we're back here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Will East with you here on a Thursday afternoon. We are doing our top 5. It is just for us. Our favorite plays. Mine for the Bulldogs, Will's from the Rebels. Not necessarily historically significant, not necessarily, the most eye-catching play, just something that when we see those plays, it brings a smile to our face. And so, with that said, and what's funny, of course, is a lot of Will's probably don't bring a smile to my face, and a lot of mine might not bring any smile to Will East's face. But that's the beauty of it. So, Will, what's your number 2?
This one brought a smile to your face.
Oh, okay.
It should have brought a smile. It brought a smile to millions.
Oh,
it brought a smile to everyone who ever saw it, except for the faithful at Auburn University. 2013 basketball. A little guy by the name of Marshall Henderson.
Oh, God. We popping our chest
tied
here.
With 6 seconds left to go in the game against the Auburn Tigers at Auburn. He hits both his free throws. They go up by 2. 6 seconds left. Auburn inbounds the ball. They go down the court. They throw a shot up. It hits the front of the rim. No good. Ole Miss wins.
I didn't even think about going basketball or baseball. I could have probably added some, but I went all football. But okay.
And that's when, of course, Marshall runs over to the Auburn
one of the
faithful.
most jiffable moments.
Pop. It's one of those where if you pause it and just look at the image.
Everything, you want to look at every person.
There's a story going on with every person.
The security guard's my favorite.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's like, what is this guy doing? And then the old guy, of course.
Old guy. The even older guy sitting next to him who can't get up.
Let me just say this about that old guy. I don't know him from Adam, but I'm just glad it was Marshall Henderson and not maybe another player. If you see what I'm getting at there, because there may have been some controversy had that been the case.
Oh, man.
That's a good one. That's a good choice.
David Kellum is sitting right there. He's got the best view in the entire arena of Marshall. And the next time you guys interview him, I don't know if I'm sure he's talked about it. Maybe I just have never heard it. I would love to hear his version of how that all went down.
If I were to throw an honorable mention, not football in, just basketball, but I'm going to go baseball. I'm going to go Connor Hyzak's walk-off at the SEC tournament a couple years ago, just because I was sitting by Richard Cross when it happened. And the whole game, I was sitting there biting my tongue because State could not get anything going. And incredibly, sitting it's me and Richard and his son Obi, and in front of us are all the Ole Miss coaches' wives. So I'm on my best behavior. I'm being a good man, blah, blah, blah. And State's not giving me anything to cheer about. But when that ball went off his bat, I don't know what I said, but a lot was said. So that was a fun one. All right, my number two. I feel like my number two is going to be number one for a lot of people, but for me, Dak Prescott's run against LSU in 2014. That's the one that put the game away, basically, broke the game wide open. That's the defining play of the Dak Prescott era at Mississippi State. A 75-yard touchdown where you had Les Miles doing something inexplicable earlier. I'll give you another one. Let's go on third and long against Dak Prescott when they go empty. Let's just not put anybody in the middle of the field to see if the quarterback maybe takes off on a run. Well, that's exactly what he did and silenced Tiger Stadium, 100,000 plus. That was the first game where they had just expanded the stadium. They had 102,000 people in there. And Mississippi State just dominated for 3.5 quarters. LSU made it a little more interesting than I want.
Almost came back in that game, right?
Let's not talk about that part. That was not the part we want to. That's for another day. But yeah, Dak's run. I mean, the image of him stiff arming the LSU defender into the ground. That is the defining image of Dak Prescott at Mississippi State, in my opinion. So that's my number two. What is your favorite play in Ole Miss Rebel history, Willie?
It features a person who was almost on campus the same time as Marshall Henderson. And, boy, if they could have been on campus at the same time, I don't think my little peon brain could have handled it. That's right.
Chad Kelly.
Oh.
Number 12. Swag. Under Armour. All-American.
Oh, Chad Kelly. Swag Kelly.
I wish I had a sound in my voice.
And it was never more swagalicious than in 2015 when Ole Miss travels to Tuscaloosa, where they had not won in 25 years, by the way, to play the Crimson Tide. First quarter was not good for Chad Kelly.
Yeah.
Just kind of blasé.
Yeah.
But in the third quarter, a bobbled snap, a defender almost knocks him down. He tosses it up to the heavens. It goes on top of Laquan Treadwell and I think a couple other Alabama defenders, and then Quincy Adeboyejo rushes in perfectly for a 66-yard touch. That, to me, is because I was still am, a big Chad Kelly fan. The guy was just electric. He crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? He had his downs. Okay?
I think it's funny. Your top two are him and Henderson.
Brother
of the same cloth.
They were never boring. Okay? Yeah. That is my favorite. If I could pick one play, that's the one because they win the game.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
I have said it many times, but that is the play that nearly made me give up on organized religion. I just stood and stared at the TV, and I just there is no God. How on earth have the wicked been allowed to prosper like this? I was so mad. I've never been that mad.
The meek have inherited the earth.
I have never been that mad about another team in my life. I was like, what just happened is impossible. It was impossible, and it did happen. All right, my number one, another kind deflection. It's kind of funny that we have that in common. Mine is the 1999 Egg Bowl. The only play on my list is not a touchdown. Eugene Clinton's interception, where Robert Bean kicks the ball up into the air on purpose, and Eugene Clinton intercepts it. This play has three things about it that I love. All right, one, he meant to kick that, baby, as Kirk Herbstreit said. He absolutely did mean to kick it. I have no idea how he had the body control or the awareness to do it, but he did that. That's one. Two, if you watch the replay, I don't know who this Ole Miss assistant coach is, but he goes down like he's been shot. Like, he just falls to his knees like, no! He can't believe what he's seeing. And then part three, on the run back, Ole Miss tight end, what is his name? Adam something. I can't remember his last name. Not on a swivel. And Mississippi State defensive lineman John Hilliard absolutely cleans him out as Clinton's going out of bounds. He's like, didn't have to do this, but he absolutely, what was that guy's name? Somebody on the text line let me know. But that is my favorite play. I was in the stadium for that one. Here we go. You got it? Why is the Master soundtrack playing behind it?
That's not me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that place went crazy.
It was insane. I was in the stadium for that one. A crazy comeback, obviously, in a year full of them. That is my all-time favorite Mississippi State play. Is that
kick
interception?
And the kick. Yep.
That's a go. And then you get the other kick, obviously, as well. So let's go to the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Send in your favorite plays. I got a State fan here. He's going to go Jonathan Banks' pick six versus Florida. Anthony Johnson's pick six versus Alabama is a really good one. Shapin to Thompson, I guess that's this year with Arizona State. The kick and the pick, and then Dak's run versus LSU. So we're just switching them up there. James in Hattiesburg is a Rebel. He goes Matt Greer's interception versus Florida. Jeff Scott's run versus Vanderbilt. I remember watching that one.
Yeah.
I was at a bar in Houston.
That's when the guy danced. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Another GIF.
That was, I think Trump stole the dance from that guy. I think that Trump's like, what is he doing? I like that. I'm ripping that off. Golson's pick. Travis Johnson, pick six versus LSU in 03, the first play of the game. And then the Deuce to Romero pass in the Egg Bowl. I was there for that one. Dak's touchdown run against LSU, again. In regards to Trinidad's playing in the Sugar Bowl, the biggest part of the play was the blindside block that did not happen.
Yeah, he put it. He's like, "Oh, I
did nothing.
I did nothing."
Chad Kelly's pass against Alabama. There's another vote for that. Apparently, while you were playing the LSU audio, there was this guy says the LSU tag in front of me as that played. Classic. You got to roll down the windows. Be like, hey, listen to this.
Listen to this. Look what I got going.
You remember that?
And it's Les Miles, and he's delivering for Uber. Yeah.
Trinidad's Sugar Bowl throw. Jeff Scott touchdown run versus Vandy. Tebow stopped on fourth down. That's a good choice. Walton's Egg Bowl run. That's what I thought you were going to play. When you said Vern Lundquist, I thought it was going to be that play.
That was a really good, because that.
No, they define really good. Define
pretty
it.
Good.
For some. It did not have
pretty good.
Did not have universal benefit.
Somebody mentioned Bo Wallace's fumble.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one that.
Then
if I was a State person, that would be like
that was considered. It was considered. Again,
it was overtime, correct?
Yeah, that ended the game.
Yeah.
And then finding out after the game that Nico Whitley had played the entire season on a torn ACL it needs to be mentioned as well. We got a few more to get to all here on the C Spire text line, so we'll do that when we come back. We'll just stay with that and go over some of these awesome plays because it's college football. I love the nostalgia. So we'll do that when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi here with you on a Thursday afternoon, getting ready to start the 4 o'clock hour in just a few minutes. When we come back to the C Spire text line.
Yeah, I feel all right tonight. Yeah, I feel all right. Now I feel all right tonight. Yeah, I feel all right.
You're hearing Sports Talk Mississippi.
What? This is so
Awesome. On Super Talk Mississippi.
Live from the Jewel. Never mind. Another one of those voiceovers that I've done through the years. People are like, that was you? Okay.
Sounded like a man.
I get. I appreciate that quick wit of yours.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Brian Hadad, Will East here with you on a Thursday, Sports Talk Mississippi in the Pearl River Resort Studios. Back to the C Spire text line here. We're doing our we were talking about top plays, favorite plays from State and Ole Miss. Don Smith came from a high school team that had about 22 players on it. Yeah, Hamilton, Mississippi. Stand up. Early 80s, Egg Bowl and Jackson. John Forquet does a bootleg and scored. He had to hold the ball up to show the ref he had scored. Yeah, what happened to the play before that, though? Let's talk about Dick Pace. Where is he right now? If there's an afterlife, I hope he's hot. That guy. The worst. The worst pass interference call in the. I would rather. That call is worse than the Saints no call. That's the worst one.
You done?
I am done.
All right.
All right. I was at that Ole Miss game and the one the next year, too, talking about the games against Alabama. Not in any order. We got a bunch here. DeCenzo Miller's touchdown against Florida, 2000. Norwood's winning touchdown against Florida. Chris Jones tackling Robert Kimdiche. I remember that. The kick, the pick, and the kick. Bond and Haddix on the option. J.J. Johnson running over a DB. You got to pick one. He did that pretty often. Ashley Cooper sacking Tim Couch. I remember that. Anthony Johnson pick six. Eric Mold's Tennessee catch. Great play, but State lost that game badly. And the Bulldogs recover, I assume, is the 1980 game against Alabama. 92 Ole Miss Auburn. Cassius B. Ware's interception for a 91-yard touchdown. There we go. Unsure of the year, but when Poe recovered a fumble and waves at the camera while the other 21 are scrapping and looking for the ball. That wasn't Poe. That was Breland Speaks is what he's thinking of, right?
That was Breland Speaks. That was almost on my list because the
this
season
again
was just so terrible.
Yeah,
that was the lone highlight of it seemed like.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dak diving into the end zone at the end of the run is the only signed photo I ever planned to own. It's hanging in my office. There you go. That's a good one. Mangum's record-setting blooper into right field. Well, I remember that. I was in the press box, and I'm trying to get, video, and off the bat, I just put my phone down. I was like, that's it's a foul ball. He popped out. And then it dropped. I was like, you idiot! Always keep the camera rolling is the lesson we learned there. Gibbon Greenwood, huge Auburn fan. The game-winning kick versus Arkansas in 98 was the first state game I ever attended, the moment that made me a Bulldog. I thought then that every game was supposed to be that exhilarating. Still have the pictures I took on a disposable camera. Very good. That catch was insane. After that happened and we would play football at recess, instead of saying Odell when someone made a crazy catch, we said Attaboy Joe. There you go. Jevin Sneed, 86-yard touchdown to Shea Hodge versus the Gators to beat them in the swamp. Good call there. Nico Whitley, Bo
the
Wallace.
Greg Hardy play sack also could have been.
Yeah, could have made the list. Derek Pegues, probably talking about that punt return he had.
Derek Pegues. I remember, what was the announcer?
Dave Neal.
Dave Neal.
Derek Pegues! Yeah, that's a good one. Jake and the Delta, that Egg Bowl interception is also my favorite play. It was the first game my girlfriend ever came with me, celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. I hope you've been back to some games, Jake. You were the good luck charm. Fumble in the 23 Egg Bowl. Someone mentions some urination simulation. That's a good choice.
So I thought about that because, the DK
That's
Metcalf
a weird play, though, right?
Was fun. But
that game was over, though.
That game was over.
This one, no.
The Elijah Moore one, it's like that swing of emotions, but it didn't at the time.
That's what we talked about it the other day. We said it's one of the weirdest of on the field incidents, if you will. I went Dusty Rhodes there. It's up there just because, what's he thinking? The game, you're pushing your kicker back. Who you knew he was dicey. Just in that moment, he's
But it's the ripple effect that changes the face of college football in some ways.
Yeah, we talked about that. We were like, does Ole Miss fire Luke if they win that game? I don't know. Moorhead definitely gets fired. Does State get Kiffin? Or does State, at that time, they had talked about
so many because they were going to keep Matt Luke.
They were going to probably get Billy Napier. and which is interesting.
And I was in a restaurant, sitting with the father and mother of a well-known reporter that you know, a national college football reporter that you know.
Okay.
I was sitting with his parents eating dinner, and he got a text saying, "Luke's out." And I had no cell service. I was trying to text everybody I knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, they almost kept you. I mean, think about the crazy domino effect.
Yeah. Boobie Dixon's run versus Houston. I was in the stadium for that one. That's a crazy one where he just breaks all of these tackles and drags like 4 guys into the end zone. That's a good choice. The immaculate deflection. Nobody else mentioned it, Tim, but you did. Another one where, if you're a Mississippi State fan and you wanted to question your faith, nobody could blame you for that one, for sure. All right, top of the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to talk about a baseball story that I saw today involving Ole Miss. It's a bad look for Ole Miss. We'll just say what it is. I don't know that we'll ever get both sides of it, but we'll find out. I want to talk about it when we come back. So that's that. John Talty joins us in the 4 o'clock hour, and then in the 5 o'clock hour, James Beatty, Northwest soccer coach. We'll talk some World Cup with him in the 5 o'clock hour. Just getting started with you. We got a long way to go. Brian Hadad and Will East here with you on Sports Talk Mississippi. Back in with you in just a minute.
Come on. Are we going to do this? Back to Sports Talk Mississippi.
Keep rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Back here on Sports Talk Mississippi, I'm Brian Hadad. Will East is in Studio X. The weekend is almost here. And you're walking out right now. Today, you walked out to your car, you're looking out at your yard, you're like, oh, no. I got to get out there this weekend. I got to make that thing happen. Now, were you one of those guys who's like, I can't wait to get out on my John Deere mower and do the job? Or were you one of those people who are dreading it because you don't have the right tool for the job? If that's you, if your yard's working you and you're not working your yard, might I suggest a quick visit to our friends over at Ag Up Equipment? Right now, they're making it easier than ever to get the John Deere mower compact tractor that you're looking for. If you got the huge tract of land, a John Deere compact tractor might be the way to go. 0% financing right now on all 1 through 4 series models. Doesn't matter if you're a first-time landowner or if you've been doing this a long time and it's just time for the next tractor in the lineage. Ag Up's team knows exactly how to help you find the right machine for your property and, most importantly, for your budget. 15 Ag Up locations throughout the state, so you know they're local to you. Or you can visit agup.com. Ag Up and John Deere, built for what's next. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details. What's up on Sports Talk Mississippi? In about 13 minutes, John Talty of CBS Sports will join the show. In the college football fix, I got a little fun exercise. I'm going to give you each
exercise?
Fun?
I don't think so, my friend.
Okay, all right. I thought you were going to go another way. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you, for State and Ole Miss, a returning player, a transfer, and a freshman to keep an eye on this year. Not necessarily, and I'm not going to say Chambliss. I'm not going to say Camario. We'll go a little deeper than that, hopefully. But right now, let's talk a little baseball here. So this news story broke today from Essen Kasem. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Writes for USA Today. Brett Harris is a senior at Western Dubuque High School in Iowa. He is the brother of former Ole Miss Rebel and current Chicago White Sox minor leaguer Calvin Harris, who was on the 2022 national championship team. He had been committed to Ole Miss to play baseball since that year. So he had a 4-year commitment to the Ole Miss Rebels. In October of 2023, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. Now, it was an inoperable brain cancer, but a treatable brain cancer for a benign tumor, just a part of the brain where you can't remove the tumor. You can't do damage to that area, otherwise, no good from there. Suffered from some headaches, some seizures. Didn't have, wasn't as bad as it could have been for him. Gets treatment, does chemo, comes back to his high school, gets his starting quarterback job back, plays baseball, has a great season. It feels like a really good story for this young man. Like he's beaten cancer. He's going to live his dream. And then this just a few days ago, Sunday, June 28th, Mike Bianco gives him a call and tells him that they are not going to they're rescinding his scholarship offer to Ole Miss. Now, I want to be real clear on something here. Like, Mike Bianco's job is very simple. His job is to win baseball games at Ole Miss. That is what they pay him to do. They pay him a lot of money to do that. And so there's zero doubt in my mind that if Mike Bianco believed that this young man could help his team win baseball games in the future, that young man would be an Ole Miss Rebel. So it's one of those things where two things can be true at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. That is, there's no denying that statement. It's not like Mike Bianco was like, yeah, he's really good and we've already got him, but let's let him go. That didn't happen. At the same time, even the most diehard Ole Miss Rebel has to admit it's a terrible look. It's a terrible look. Yes. It's a young man who beat cancer and gets told, it's July 9th. So luckily for this kid, his brother had been working out at the University of Iowa and got his film to the coaches there, and they were like, yes, we will absolutely bring him in. And so he is getting a scholarship to play at Iowa, gets to play a little closer to home. That's the good news for this young man. Just a weird situation. And here's the thing that sucks, Will, is that there's no chance to get the other side of the story. Bianco will never address this, as he shouldn't, right? Because, I don't think you're allowed to talk about student-athletes that aren't signed to your program. And he probably doesn't want to go too – there could be a reason that he did this that might be embarrassing to the young man. I don't know the answers here. But goodness gracious, when I saw this story, I was like – and my dealings with Mike Bianco have been very limited. I've met him once. Richard was nice enough to introduce me to him when I was up there covering a game once. I've had conversations, obviously, with him a few times here on the radio and such things. But everybody I know that knows Mike Bianco tells me this is an unbelievable guy. I have a friend of mine who's a principal in the Jackson area at a local school who reached out to Mike Bianco to speak at his school. And Bianco came down, couldn't have been nicer, was happy to do it. That's all I've ever heard about Mike Bianco. So, on the surface, this story is very against the image of Mike Bianco that I have. I'd be fascinated to know the details. Unfortunately, I feel like we'll never get them.
Yeah.
So,
I just said he was his brother played at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It's a weird story.
That's the other thing. This is a legacy. This is a guy who, he was on your national championship team. He had to be a dyed-in-the-wool rebel, even living in Iowa. And then, to pull him out, we're talking, 10 days ago?
And school starts.
School starts in, less than a month.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird story.
But the good news is, if you didn't hear it, as you mentioned, he is getting a scholarship to go play at Iowa, right?
That's what it says. It says, Brett reached, this is a quote from the article, Brett reached out to Iowa, and the Hawkeyes are offering him a scholarship to join the program, giving him the chance to play closer to home. The real good news is that he seems to have beaten brain cancer. That's the real good news of this situation. And that's the other side of this is just from maybe I'm just a little jaded because I'm in the content business, but bringing this guy in is a good story. It gets your program positive publicity.
Those are the stories that make movies.
Yeah, this is, what happens if this guy down the road has a big hit and wins you a game? That's a story. That's something you can, I just don't know. I don't know all of the details. I'm not going to pretend that I do. I just know that it's a weird thing. Somebody's trying to say that he's walking on in Iowa. In the story, written by the guy, it says he's getting a scholarship. Now, if you want to take it up with, again, what's his name?
USA Today.
Ehsan Kasim of USA Today, feel free to do so. But in the story, it is reported he's getting a scholarship. Now, is it a full scholarship? No, it's a baseball scholarship. But was he getting a full scholarship to Ole Miss? I doubt that as well. So yeah, what are we talking about here? What hairs are we splitting? I don't know. Just an odd just an odd story. And again, very much, I shouldn't say it's because I'm not trying to put blame on Bianco here. It's just that everything I've ever heard about Mike Bianco is he's a class guy, top of the line guy. This runs a counter to that. It runs counter to what I've always heard about him. So, but unfortunately, again, we'll never. This story will have a couple of days and then it'll go away and we'll all move on with our lives. But it's just a weird story.
Yeah,
it's weird. But MLB draft is this weekend. I know from a Mississippi State standpoint, they're expecting Ace Reese in the first round. Expecting at least 2 or 3 of their signees to go in the first round. Most notably, a name that you might remember you might remember this name, Rocco Maniscalco. His dad, Matthew, played at Mississippi State back in the early 2000s. And maybe a couple of other signees as well. From an Ole Miss perspective, I know that they expect Cade Townsend to go pretty early in this one, Taylor Rabe to go pretty early. Both of those guys will probably move on to the next level. Ole Miss is going to be interesting. They got to replace their starting rotation. It's State is bringing back its entire starting rotation. Ole Miss is going to have to replace theirs. So, and from a signee standpoint, when we had, I forget the young man's name, but we had him on. We had Chase Parham on a couple weeks ago when I was hosting, and he talked about it. The kid from Magnolia Heights, I guess, or is that where he was from? I think it was. That Ole Miss expects they expect to lose him as well. So. Always a fun exercise. You watch those signing classes and see who gets picked off by Major League Baseball. But, from a state perspective.
That whole setup is so weird.
It is weird. And, they had the proposal recently of saying, let's do away with the high school portion and they go to school for 2 years. And, man, if that were to happen, programs like State and Ole Miss are going to benefit greatly. You think about the amount of talent that these two schools.
Why would they do that?
I think that the owners would like to do it. I don't think the players want to do it. So it probably won't pass. But the owners are looking at it and going like, why? Well, yeah, we'd like to have more ready-made players. A couple guys who get a couple years in college, we can we can find out, we can sort of separate the chaff from the wheat a little earlier in that one. So we'll see. All right, let's switch it back to college football. When we come back, my good friend John Talty will join us, CBS Sports national college football writer. Let's just hit him up. Let's see what he thinks about a bunch of stuff, and we'll have some fun. It's college football. Back in just a minute. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Come on, SuperTalk Mississippi. Check this out. Are you ready? Yeah. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Back here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Hadad here with you on a Thursday afternoon. We go now to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. My friend John Talty, CBS Sports national college football writer. I'm going to put you on the spot with a big picture question. Will and I did our top 5 favorite plays from Mississippi State and from Ole Miss. Not historic, not eye-catching, just something that brings a smile to my face. What's a college football play that brings a smile to John Talty's face, be it Maryland or not?
Well, did you guys bring up the fake dog pee? Did that rank highly?
We didn't. That was on our countdown the other day. We did a top 5 craziest on-field incidents thing. But if that's the one for you, man, I'll take it.
Well, it's the first thing that came to mind just because we're talking in Mississippi.
Which one, by the way?
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, there's multiple opportunities. I guess the Elijah Moore one, just because of, it's been well, obviously, written about and established, but just all of the implications of that one play, it's I think it might have been SB Nation did an incredible rundown of all the different coaching moves and all these different things that all happened because of that one play. So that's right. It's just the first one that comes to mind to me. And I can't remember if that's the same game or if it was a different one. I'm thinking more of GIFs and memes in my head right now, but the Breland speaks.
That's
wave,
a different one. That's the DK Metcalf one that was in that same game. So,
all right. Yeah. There you go.
It really does all run together at some point with those two teams. All right, Big 12 media days are going on right now. Is the relationship between Texas Tech and the Big 12 really fractured. Is there a possibility that they would look to move at some point? I keep seeing a lot of, it's message board genius stuff, I'm sure, but is that a real thing right now?
Where are you going? I mean, I think the question kind of begins and ends there. Where are you going? Who's taking Texas Tech? Guarantee you the SEC and Big Ten aren't taking Texas Tech. So, I mean, that's the starting point. I think, what I can tell you, and this is not like, I'm not knocking Texas Tech or any of their people involved. I'm just going to speak to what the perception of Texas Tech is right now. And it's a lot of, I think, disdain. That might be too strong, but certainly, there's a lot of skepticism about their motives and intentions. I know people in the SEC and Big Ten are not the biggest fans of Cody Campbell, who's their, billionaire chairman, who's bankrolled a lot of their roster costs. So I just think that there'd be a lot of skepticism and disinterest from other conferences when it comes to Texas Tech. So, I think they're going to have to try to work out the relationship. We've seen it happen in other places. Michigan and the Big Ten have had a fraught relationship over the last few years, especially when you go back to all the Jim Harbaugh stuff and the sign stealing. And you know what? Michigan's still in the Big Ten because Michigan realizes that the Big Ten is the best place for them, and the Big Ten obviously realizes the power and value of Michigan. And it's kind of how I feel about Texas Tech and Big 12. It's the right place for them. And you also think about, they're able to stand out so much more in the Big 12 than they would in any of these bigger conferences, which have, more money. They're able to really, I think, be at the upper echelon of that conference because of their willingness to spend more than a lot of these other Big 12 programs are.
The first year of the Big 12, once they expanded, I thought it was, there was a true crapshoot, right? Anybody could have won that conference. It ended up being Arizona State, who was predicted last in the preseason. Now I feel like Texas Tech has such a stranglehold on things. Is there a real challenger for them in the Big 12 this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, who's going to step up and, spend real money to be as competitive as they are? So, I mean, I think there are other programs that, I think have potential. I think, for instance, you got the Arizona schools. There's some, big fan of Kenny Dillingham. At Arizona, you've got Noah Fafita, who's probably one of the better quarterbacks, in that conference. Like Utah was really good under Kyle Whittingham for a long time, always at kind of that upper echelon, the Pac-12, and, was competitive last year in the Big 12. Very curious what that looks like under Morgan Scalley and kind of after they lost, some of their pieces, but having Dan Pierre and others coming back. So I think there are some challengers, and, I think we have to, certainly acknowledge the fact that, Brendan Sorsby was going to be a very big part of that team. That doesn't mean they don't have other talent potentially at that position, but, that's certainly a question mark, and I think that was one of their limiting factors a year ago, which is why they went out and got Brendan Sorsby. And so I think without him makes it feel maybe a bit more wide open than it would have should, Sorsby not have all the issues that he had and be, ineligible to play this season.
So let's bring it to the SEC. I did a preview interview on Auburn this week, and I kind of knew this, but when I looked at the depth chart for the first time and saw how many transfers are bringing in, especially from South Florida, I think Golish is a good coach, and I think he's going to be successful at Auburn eventually, but is bringing that many guys from a good but not great, not dominant American Conference team to the SEC in year one, is that a real recipe for success in your opinion?
You can look at it two different ways. I get the kind of the point that you're making there, and I think, to be perfectly honest, I think South Florida underachieved last year relative to their talent. I think Alex Golish is a good coach as well, but I would, certainly heard from other coaches in the American that felt like South Florida was one of those 2 or 3 teams at the very top that had a lot more money than other programs and didn't necessarily live up to that hype. So I do think there's talent there. I think where it helps, especially in year one, is that you've got a lot of guys who know your system and can be, essentially translators, from what you want done to other members, of the team, especially offensively, where, that's kind of Golish's specialty. Like, I think having those guys, having a quarterback that you have a lot of familiarity with, who knows exactly what you want to do, like, I do think that can almost speed you up a little bit in that year one. And I think, Brian, you've seen the trend in other places, a guy like Eric Morris at North Texas taking some of his key contributors with him to Oklahoma State. Iowa State is higher up, I guess, in the food chain than South Florida, but, Matt Campbell taking a lot of those guys to Penn State that probably never would have been really recruited by Penn State in the past. So I think we've seen this trend, and I do think there is a positive version of it where it allows you to speed up your kind of typical awkward transition of that first year where everybody's kind of new and doesn't know what's going on, and it takes year 2, year 3 to kind of really figure it out.
I say this a lot on this show and on the podcast. I feel like there's a different perception of Jeff Lebby nationally versus locally. Locally, where those of us who watch every snap of every game and see what he does have one perception of him. And I think people like you who do it nationally, they see a coach who went from 2 wins to 5 wins and was really close to 6 or 7 or even 8 wins last year. What is the national perception of Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State?
Yeah, I think, you described it pretty well for how I would describe me. Now, I would also say, and you know this, Brian, like, I've lived in Mississippi. I've been around that program. I've, been around that program multiple times since Jeff's been there. I've talked to Jeff. I've talked to people around him. So, like, I feel like I have a pretty good sense of, I think, some of the challenges, some of the, things that I think he might be going up against. So I might have a more positive opinion of him than, like you said, maybe someone who is maybe watching every single snap where I'm not seeing every single snap. I'm at more of a 30,000-foot view of, like, I think first year, obviously not what you want, but I do feel like there were improvements. Certainly there were games that I thought they let slip through their fingers that you would love to get back. But there was, I thought, progress in a number of areas. I think some of the talent that they have coming back, started the quarterback position, but I think in numerous areas, like, has me kind of excited. And so I'm in that position now, Brian, headed into this year. It's like, all right, you got to show me something. And it's going to be hard. It's 9-game schedule. Nobody in the SEC wants to lose. A lot of money has been spent this offseason at lots of different SEC schools. So it's going to be hard to show tangible improvements in the win-loss record from a year ago. But that's kind of what I would need to see, I think, to feel really good about the future. But I think from what he inherited, some of the things they're doing from an evaluation standpoint, from a addition standpoint, like, I think there's a lot of things that they're doing well that are moving them in the right direction. But you gotta make a bowl game this year. You gotta take that next step, and they've been close, but I think you need to see that this year.
All right, got my fingers crossed here. You gonna be in Tampa?
Sadly, I will not. I know it's a sad day for us all, but hopefully I'll get to see you soon, somewhere along the way.
Make it happen, my friend. We'll see you soon. John Talty, CBS Sports. Always a pleasure to have you join me, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, bye.
As always, John joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Dang him for skipping out on me. What's wrong with him? Doesn't he know that I'm going to be there? All right, when we come back, we've got to get 100 teams in 100 days. I think we're going to the Big Ten, and we're going to a big city. Big city living when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi, back with you in just a minute.
From the Sebro.com.
Let the broadcasting of the disturbed continue.
Sports Talk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Ben Franklin had it wrong. There are 3 things in this life that are certain: death, taxes, and Will East playing the Colt when he is behind the microphone. on Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Hadad here with you on a Thursday afternoon in the Pearl River Resort Studios. I was wrong, by the way. It's not big city living, unfortunately. That'll have to wait until tomorrow.
It's kind of a big city.
It's a large town.
Yes.
But we'll wait for that. But let's do that now. Let's jump in. 100 teams in 100 days.
This day is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. This day is bananas.
100 teams in 100 days.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go! It's the final countdown.
Team number 51 here on the countdown. We go to the Big 12, the home of Shiplap. Shiplap. The Baylor Bears.
Oh.
Peppy.
Terrible.
Into the house that Chip and Joanna Gaines built.
Remodeled.
Remodeled, yes. Yes, the Baylor Bears. A season ago, your intrepid host here said, oh, yeah, Baylor, they're going to win the Big 12 and go to the college football playoff. That's why Brian Hadad is still sitting here with you and not, in the penthouse suite at the Wynn Resort. He's not. He doesn't really know that
Baylor's
much.
going to win that conference title, go to the college football playoff, just like Joe Burrow is going to be, a mediocre quarterback.
Again,
at LSU.
that is just blown so far out of proportion. So far out of proportion.
I don't see that Joe Burrow just doing a whole lot. I'm going to tell you, it's just LSU.
When that segment aired, you were in your office nodding along like, yeah, he sucks. You sit here and you do this to me. Baylor 5-7 last year. Started out the season playing the Auburn Tigers on a Friday night. I remember checking the scores at the Starkville. That was that crazy Starkville Oak Grove game.
Oh, that was a good.
Yeah. That's the one where you were like, you texted me, you were like, you have to be on the call-in show. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so, you think, okay, that's not a great start. The next week they beat SMU in a crazy game, 48-45. Then they beat Samford 42-7. You're like, all right, they're off and running. They end up winning 2 of their next 3. They lose to Arizona State in a close one, but beat Oklahoma State and Kansas State. They're 4-2, and you're like, all right, they're going to be okay. And then it just kind of fell apart for them. They only win 1 game in their final 6, and that was a 30-3 win over Central Florida. What I find interesting is when you look at their defense, Dave Aranda, a guy who's always had a reputation as a defensive mastermind, was at LSU and just a big-time defensive coach. They only gave up 4 less points on the season than Mississippi State and Coleman Hutzler did last year. Look at their final few games. Obviously, I mentioned that 30-3 win over Central Florida, but in Big 12 play, they gave up 27, 27, 34, 42, 41. There's the 3. 55, 41, 31. And even to SMU and Auburn, they gave up 38 and 45. So defensively, just a nightmare season for them. For a team I thought had some real hope coming in, with Sawyer Robertson coming back, coming off of an 8-win season. So Dave Aranda was on the hot seat in 2024, won 8 games, got off the hot seat, and decided, no, I don't like that. So now right back onto the hot seat.
It warms my bald head, that hot seat.
Snip, snap, snip, snap. We can't decide if we want to be on the hot seat or not. So the Baylor Bears this year start the year off again playing the Auburn Tigers. That game, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't like it. Being played in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta rather than being played in Jordan-Hare Stadium. They played this game last year in Baylor.
Yeah,
how do you not get a home and home out of that? Like, how do you not do that? I don't. Who's their athletic director at Auburn? What a terrible deal. They'll host Prairie View on September 12th, then Louisiana Tech rounds out the non-conference, and then it's into Big 12 play. A home game with Colorado, then a road trip to Arizona State, TCU Baylor, some great games through the years for sure. Then a road trip to Kansas, head to the Bounce House to take on Central Florida on October 30th. That's a Friday, isn't it? Is that a Friday game? October 30th. It is. That is a Friday game.
Halloween's on
Saturday. The new-look Iowa State Cyclones will come to Baylor to start the month of November. Then BYU, a trip to the mountains out there. The Wasatch Mountains, isn't that correct? I believe that's right. Texas Tech comes to Baylor on November 26th, and they'll finish the season off with the Houston Cougars in Houston in what will obviously be a make-or-break season. At this point, I say Dave Aranda could be a defensive coordinator again, but I don't know if the game may have passed him by at some point here. I don't know what's going on with
that.
This
is
team.
a sneaky tough schedule for them.
Oh,
especially towards the end.
I'll be honest with you, Will. I don't know. It's sneaky tough. I think it's just tough. You got
BYU, Texas Tech, and then Houston, Willie Fritz and crew.
BYU and Texas Tech are going to be among the favorites in the conference. Houston is going to be a really good team. Willie Fritz is a good coach. I don't know what Iowa State's going to look like. Central Florida, year 2 with Scott Frost. But, man, it's a tough schedule. And then you don't really get a big break in the non-conference there because you got to play Auburn. So, could very well be time to polish up the resume when we talk about
polishing his head.
He does keep a shiny dome.
I appreciate a man with a shiny dome.
So, well, you still got some coverage. So
I'm clinging to it.
Yeah. What was it you were on the other day when we were talking the cul-de-sac? I'm still laughing about that. That's a good one. All right, where are we going to go eat when we're in Waco? We are going to go to. Well, you're not going to be surprised. It is a little southern cafe. A lot of fried food, a lot of stick to your ribs. We're going to Cafe Homestead when we're in Waco. First off, on Cafe Homestead, we got to fix this website. I don't want to do the whole thing where I got to order food to look at your menu. All right, I don't want to do that. Especially the first thing on the menu, water. It's like they have the drinks first, like water. Thankfully free. No charge for water.
Okay, guys, most important thing.
Yeah. Make sure they
put the water on there.
They got the picture of it, too. Hey, look, sweet tea, unsweet tea, peach tea, and mango tea, plus lemonade. Those are all good options there. You can also get a Mexican Coke, which I can't resist. If I go to a restaurant and I see the Mexican Cokes, I'm going to order one for sure.
Not good for your blood sugar.
No, you can only have one. Corn fritters. That sounds like a great appetizer. My wife, a big fan of the corn fritter. She can eat here, too. It doesn't look like there's any fried seafood on the menu, so that's good. Also, buttermilk biscuits right there.
All right.
I'll take a basket of those, true. So they have steaks, ribeyes, fillets, chicken fried steak, but country fried chicken. Do you know the difference between country fried and chicken fried? I will tell you. It's the gravy. Chicken fried gets white gravy. Country fried gets brown gravy. So if you get country fried steak, it should come with brown gravy.
I've only ever had the white gravy.
Well, then you've had chicken fried steak. So if you go somewhere and they're like, would you like to try our chicken fried steak? And it comes out with brown gravy, you can call them a hypocrite. You're a liar, sir, a cheat, and a swindle.
All right.
What else we got on the menu here at Cafe Homestead? Which keeps, every time I switch away from the tab, it goes back to the top of the menu where the water is. I wish it would stop doing that. Chicken dumpling pie is interesting. I don't know what that is. Sounds good. You can get a quesadilla burger. That's also good.
All right.
What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, you mentioned drinks. Do they have Dr. Pepper there?
Oh, they have Dr. Pepper, and you can get it in the bottle. You're in Texas. Yeah, you got Dr. Pepper.
No, you're in Waco.
Oh, yeah.
You know what else is in Waco? The Dr. Pepper Museum.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, you can visit the Dr. Pepper Museum.
My guess is every place in town has Dr. Pepper. I'll be drinking a lot of Dr. Pepper in 2 weeks because that's all they have at Media Days. They don't have Cokes. So
that's all they have is Dr. Pepper because it's a sponsor or something?
They have the Dr. Pepper brand stuff. So they have like 6 flavors of Dr. Pepper. A couple years ago, they had the strawberries and cream. They had the coconut cream, which is a weird. Imagine if somebody poured Dr. Pepper into suntan lotion and said, drink this. That's what that is. But they'll also have, like, I forget the other stuff that they have. But there's no Coke. You can't have a Coke. There's no Coke Zero. There's no Sprite. It's all Dr. Pepper stuff. It's really weird. I wish they could do that. That's why if you ever look at the expense report, you always like, why is Hadad getting something charged to his room every morning that's like $5? It's me getting a Coke Zero at whatever little shop they've got in the hotel because I got to have something to start my day. What do we got for dessert here at Cafe Homestead? I'm hoping that by the way, you can get a fried egg on the side with anything. You can get a steak and a fried egg. That's good. Okay, here we go. Blackberry cobbler. They got good options here. Hold on. Blackberry cobbler, a la mode, carrot cake, coconut cream pie, chocolate cream pie, peach cobbler, buttermilk pie. Ooh. And today's chef special is a smoked Wagyu burger, so that sounds pretty good as well. All right, so if you're ever driving across the great state of Texas and you got to make a stop in Waco, why don't you stop in at Cafe Homestead for a fantastic meal? But most importantly, you tell them that Hadad and Will East sent you. All right, when we come back, what do I have? I have the rundown here. I got to get it. Oh, there's a secret meeting happening. It's not too secret because the news of it got out. But I just thought it was funny, and we'll have some jokes at their expense because LSU invited their 40 biggest boosters to a meeting.
To a secret meeting?
It's the secret kind. We'll do that when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi here with you. Back in just a minute. Starts 5 o'clock hour.
From the Sports Talk Mississippi. Here's more. Super Talk Mississippi.
Friend of the show and National Sports Writer of the Year, by the way, Ross Dellinger, Mississippi State's finest living alum, in my opinion, tweeted earlier today that LSU has asked their boosters to come to a meeting being held either Monday, August 3rd, or Wednesday, August the 5th, beginning at 6 p.m., live from the governor's mansion in the great and sovereign state of Louisiana.
Okay.
The governor and the president of the university, Dr. Wade, I believe is pronounced, you know what? I'll try here, but we're talking about Cajun people here. Rouse, I think it's Rouse, like the grocery store.
Sure.
The governor and the president are inviting you to a private event at the governor's mansion on Monday, August 3rd or Wednesday, August 5th, beginning at 6 p.m. to get a first look at an alternative revenue-generating opportunity for LSU. I know. Hold on. Let's finish. For LSU athletics that is first of its kind nationally and could possibly change the future of college sports in America.
Oh.
Let's see. All right.
If there's any planes from South America traveling up.
Let me be clear. Again, I'm reading this is from a letter from the Tiger Athletic Foundation. Let me be clear. This is not an ask for money. It is not a fundraiser. Narrator, it was a fundraiser. It's informational. This is a conversation about the future of LSU athletics.
Yes, unfortunately.
Now, LSU has already been very innovative in fundraising in the past.
Yes.
They were the first school of their kind, of any kind, to launder money through a children's hospital.
Well, that was one individual, not the school. Let's be clear about that. Unfortunately for this meeting, Coach O was keeping the minutes, so we'll never know what was actually said.
Coach, I didn't know you knew hieroglyphics.
Yeah. Are other state universities allowed to just go meet at the governor? It's like a.
Well, here's the problem. Like in most states,
hotel,
it's a problem,
just book
right?
a room?
Like if we found out the Alabama boosters were having a meeting at the governor's mansion, the Auburn boosters would be like,
not happy.
We're voting that guy out. In Louisiana, you can just get away with this kind of thing because it's 85% LSU, and I may be underestimating there. To be totally honest, yeah. I mean, Tate Reeves would never, host State or Ole Miss because the next election he's like, well, I'm out. That's why Tommy Tuberville's rise to power has been so fascinating to me because I thought the Alabama people would just be like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
like no chance. Like this guy, no chance. But I guess the R was bigger than the AU on that one.
Well, in that state, it is. Yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the governor and the president of the university meeting with their boosters for. What kind of meeting is it? It's the secret kind.
Yeah, secret.
Their top 40 donors have been brought in.
So Lane Kiffin's not going to be there?
There's no chance that Kiffin's not there. Kiffin will absolutely. I bet I would be willing to bet Kiffin, Wade, Mulkey, and Johnson are all.
Will Lane Kiffin follow his Robert's Rules of Order for the meeting?
I believe he has been voted as parliamentarian.
Because usually his rules of order are get hired, look for another job, win, leave town in a swirl of controversy, repeat.
See, he doesn't have Robert's Rules of Order. He has the Joker's Rules of Chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. That's the Lane Kiffin is. I'm like a dog chasing after a truck. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I caught it. I just do things.
So they're meeting about a creative
an alternative revenue.
First of all, anytime you see the word alternative
revenue,
unless they're talking about music, your ears should perk up and go.
Alternative revenue generating opportunity.
If this involves crypto, man.
I'm just picturing Michael Scott. Like, it's not even a scheme. It's not a pyramid. Like. Every LSU fan next week is going to be calling you about, are you familiar with Mona V? So you start selling it, and then I'm selling to you, and we're all going to get rich.
We've got some wonderful skincare products that we're pitching.
What is it? Advocare.
Advocare.
That's what it is, yeah. Every LSU fan it's pronounced Roos. Dwight, I would have never, ever, ever guessed that. I'll just go ahead and tell you. So if that's correct. On that note, LSU is now combined with UNO. It's LSU No. No joke. They are. It's true.
Alternative.
Yeah.
Man.
An alternative.
That has just got.
Can I come down and sit down with the guys in the corner office about an alternative revenue? Generating. I don't think they want to have that meeting with me.
Alternative. That has got to be crypto. What do you want to bet? It's crypto.
It's that or feet pics. I don't know which one it is. It's one of the two. We're gonna have undercut OnlyFans. It's gonna be OnlyFans just for LSU. EAUXNLY OnlyFans.
Oh man.
There we go. 5 o'clock when we come back. The college football fix.
Comes more Sports Talk Mississippi.
You ready, guys?
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Did somebody say back in black? Oh, yeah. We didn't have the black 85s. That wasn't a thing when Will Clark and Rafael Palmeiro were still running the things here in Starkville. But, times have changed. Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Hadad. He's Will East. It's Friday. It's not Friday. I wish it was. It's Thursday. If tomorrow I'll be in Corinth. Be at the Slugburger Festival.
That's right. And you're going to be giving, I found out this. Have you heard this?
I haven't heard anything. Oh, no.
You're going to be giving away. Creed tickets.
Oh! Yes. You know what that means? It means I could do a Creed impression live on air.
Summer of '99 tour.
With all's wide open under the sunlight. You got to do that at the end of it. You got to break up a little flow. So there you go. It is Thursday. It's 5 o'clock. It's the college football fix.
I don't know what's happening. Not me.
This is an outrage. Absolutely disgusting.
How dare they mess up the CBS Big Ten song?
I blame Borky, if we're being totally honest. The college football fix is driven by your Mississippi Ford dealers. Built Ford Tough. That's the best-selling truck in America, the Ford F-150. If you're looking to buy a new truck now, there's only one place to go, one place to shop, one place to visit. That's your Mississippi Ford dealers today. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I got 3 players here from State and Ole Miss. I've got a returning player, but not necessarily the biggest star on the roster. I got a transfer, and I got a freshman. And I think all three of these players will have impacts for their respective schools this year.
Three from each team?
Three from each team.
All right.
So I may have had to reach out to someone for an Ole Miss freshman. I didn't know all of them, but that's fine. Let's start with the returning guys. We'll start in Oxford. I think, obviously there's a lot of focus on the offense, and that's with Trinidad and Keywan Lacey, right? And then when you do talk about Ole Miss defensively, we talk like William Eccles is the first name that comes up, and then Sunter and Perkins is probably the next guy. I feel like Cam Franklin gets lost in the shuffle sometimes for Ole Miss. Really, really good football player. He's very underrated, in my opinion. And I think that offenses this year, I should say, when they scheme up against Ole Miss, I feel like Eccles is probably like, we got to deal with him first, and then it's Perkins, we got to deal with him. And I feel like Franklin can maybe fly under the radar a little bit for the Rebels and be a potential All-SEC guy for them. He's got the talent level for sure. And
incredibly athletic. I don't know if you know this, but when he was at Lake Cormorant, played a little running back.
I can see it. Yeah. This was the guy who was the number one player in the state coming out of high school.
Absolutely.
And a very highly recruited guy. And, that was a great defensive line class in the state that year. Almost all of them ended up in Oxford. And now Eccles and Franklin are the stalwarts of that defense. But everybody focuses on Eccles. Everybody focuses on Perkins. And Franklin, to me, kind of flies under the radar. So that's the guy I'm gonna throw at you from Ole Miss. From State, I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks. When you talk about Zach Arnett's defense, one thing that we know is that linebackers pile up tackles in this defense. Jet Johnson and Buki Watson are still tackling guys from 2022 in this defense in 2023. I mean, I think between the two of them in those 2 years, you're talking about close to 500 tackles in those last two seasons. So Tyler Lockhart is a guy, we remember him very, very vividly from that signing day craziness with him where he was committed to State and then he flips to Ole Miss.
Winona?
Yeah. Flipped to Ole Miss at his signing day press conference, or maybe not flip, but just signed with Ole Miss. And then I'll never forget, I was at a basketball game and like Jeff Lebby tweeted out The Undertaker. And I was like, what's going on here? And then I found out that State had flipped him back. And one of the great Egg Bowl signing day story. He's going to start for Mississippi State this year. He is going to get a lot of tackles. He and I think Zachary Tillman, those guys are both going to be probably good for 100 to 120 tackles this year. So that's a name you're going to hear a lot on the broadcast. You're going to hear tackle by Lockhart. And I think he's also a good enough pass rusher that he can give State some help there. So those are my returning guys. My transfers will go again back to Ole Miss, and it's a linebacker. It's Keaton Thomas. The transfer from Baylor. I wanted him at State badly during the recruiting process. Ole Miss wins him. And everything I've ever heard about this kid is he's a stud. He's a monster. He's going to be a huge piece for Ole Miss this year. They will not miss T.J. Daugherty in any way, shape, or form with this guy playing linebacker. And I think he's just going to be an absolute machine in this Pete Golding defense this year. That's a guy that I think you can count on, again, to probably be close to 100 tackles, if not over, for this Ole Miss defense. So Keaton Thomas is my Ole Miss transfer. I'm going to give you one for State maybe you don't know. So yesterday in an interview, Braylon Womack, who I'm going to talk about in just a minute, mentioned that Iowa State transfer cornerback Quentin Taylor had been moved to safety. And so we've been talking for a while, like who is going to be the other corner on the other side of Kelly Jones. The name I'm going to give you is the Florida transfer. Great. He goes by a nickname, which is always a good thing, right? Jamrock is the nickname. Love it. Jamrock Grimsley. Just going to throw
Jamrock Grimsley.
That just sounds like a defensive back, doesn't it? State's got to have that guy, and that guy is going to have opportunities because nobody's going to want to throw at Kelly Jones. So whoever that number 2 cornerback is going to have some chances to show out because if you can be good, they're going to throw the ball at you. And so is it going to be him? Is it going to be Jet Jefferson, who was on a path to start last year before he got injured, right before the first game? or, somebody, maybe Kyle Johnson, the 4-star kid. But I think Grimsley has a chance there. Coming in from Florida, got some SEC experience. Keep an eye on Jamrock. Just remember that name, Jamrock Grimsley. I mentioned Braylon Womack for State, the 4-star safety from Hartfield Academy, flipped late in the process from Auburn. At the end of the day, and you can ask Michael Borky if you don't believe me because he called all the games, just too athletic, I think, too talented to stay down for long. Will he start the season in the starting lineup? Probably not. But will he be a huge piece by the end of the year? I think so. I think he's just one of those guys that as the year goes along, you'll see more and more of him out there on the field.
Borky told me several times, I talked to him like the next Monday or whatever after the Friday night game, and he would say, you could just tell that guy was there was not a game where he was not the best player on the field.
And what I would say about a player playing at Hartfield, and no offense to Hartfield, they've had some good players. They've put some guys in the SEC over the last few years. But a guy of that caliber should stand out playing that level of football. Like, you should be able to watch 2 plays and go, that's the SEC player. Yeah. And, same thing in, with 1A football. If you've got a 1A guy who's going to play, he better be putting up monster numbers. And Womack did that, and I just think that he's just too good to keep off the field forever. It was a little tougher for Ole Miss because that's not a team that has a lot of holes, obviously. And when they do have a hole, they replace it with a transfer more often than not. So I reached out to a friend of the show, Michael Katz, from the Tupelo Daily Journal. I was like, who's a true freshman that the coaches you've heard talk about? And he gave me this name, Landon Barnes, who is a defensive end, edge. He's basically going to be a backup to Trinidad Chambliss, but a 4-star defensive end out of Duncanville, Texas.
A backup to Trinidad Chambliss?
Did I say Trinidad Chambliss? Sunter and Perkins. My bad. Yes, you know what?
Different
side of the ball, different person. Their names don't sound anything alike.
I don't know why.
I don't know why Chambliss was on the brain. It happens. But 6'3.5", 235 pounds, and I was told.
Where did he play high school?
Duncanville, Texas. It's right next to Donut, Texas.
Really?
Duncanville and Donut are right next to each other. So, offers from all over the place. We're talking Ohio State, Washington, LSU, Georgia. He could have gone anywhere. Ends up at Ole Miss, and they really like the future for this kid, but they think he can be a guy who comes in year one and gives them some opportunities to, just what you want to have is somebody when Perkins comes off the field that you don't lose all of your pass rush threat.
Yeah.
And they feel like this is a kid who maybe situationally at first, but by the end of the season could be more of a player for Ole Miss. So that's another name just to keep it on the back of your mind there. Landon Barnes. Good Ole Miss name too. Two last names.
Barnes.
It's got 2 last names.
2 last names is always.
I just read an article, by the way, talking about Leo Messi. Apparently, a lot of kids in Argentina named Lionel. A lot of kids named Leo. Only 10 named Messi because in Argentina you can't make last names into first names. So Ole Miss will never have an adjunct campus in Buenos Aires because you can't have the names like that. You can't have Landon Tucker and Walker Brandon down there. Just can't have it. So, all right, when we come back, we go from football to football. Coach James Beatty, Northwest Community College, was at the World Cup watching his home nation of Scotland. Talked to him about that. Talked to him about American soccer and can they break through, and a few other things as well. Good conversation. It's going to take us a little while. We'll do that when we come back here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
Exciting news.
Brace yourself.
More Sports Talk Mississippi. Now.
We're back here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Before we go to the Farm Bureau guest line, I will let you guys know that if you're in the car buying market right now, my friends at Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota would love to see you. Anybody can sell you a car. Anybody can give you a great deal. Who makes you think as you're driving off the lot, man, when it's time to do this again, this is where I'm coming? That's what you get at Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota. Visit them online, belkford.com, oxfordtoyota.com, or just go see them on Highway 6 if you're looking for for a new car. Belk Ford, Oxford Toyota in Oxford. Let's go down to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. My conversation with Northwest soccer coach James Beatty about the World Cup and his time at it. We go down to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. He's been on the show many times to talk about his program up at Northwest Mississippi Community College, multiple-time national champion, James Beatty, the women's soccer coach up there. But I wanted to talk about just soccer, just football, if we're being honest, with you. We've talked about doing this before. We're finally hooking up for it. You actually were at Scotland's opening game, I believe, against Haiti at Boston Stadium. We'll call it. I don't want to get sued. What was that experience? I mean, the big picture question. What was that like for you?
It was
with your countrymen.
It was crazy. I think obviously we haven't been at the World Cup since 1998, so we've been out of the picture on the world stage for a period of time. So the Scottish people, they're known for having a party and they're known for loving football. So they came out in their numbers, and that first night was really special. The stadium was, the atmosphere was incredible when the national anthem started. It was. It really was surreal. You kind of don't ever think you're going to go to a World Cup. If you were to ask me a few years ago, would I be at a World Cup? I would say if I was, I wouldn't be watching Scotland. So I think the fact that I was there and I was able to watch my home country was something that was really special. And I was there with my dad and my brother as well. It was cool to take it in with them.
As best as you can, encapsulate the feeling for us when McGinn scored the goal.
Yeah, it was like a delayed reaction because it kind of took obviously the deflection, but we went crazy because that was the Haiti game was the one that we had to win. We knew Morocco and Brazil would have been they're two tough nations. I think Brazil at the time were number 6 and Morocco were number 7, so we knew if we were going to get any points to try and advance, the Haiti game was the one to do it. So getting that goal was more relief than anything.
So. When we talked about, you mentioned it a second ago with being in Boston, that's more of an Irish town, but I'm sure there's a good Scottish. It was incredible to see the scenes from that. And you mentioned maybe having a pint while you were up there. They said you ran the city out of beer. What is that moment like of community, being with all the Scottish fans, the people around, you meet people from other countries. It really does feel like the World Cup has, in a time here in America where we feel like there's a lot of dividing us, this has brought a lot of people together.
Yeah, 100%. I think the last European Championship, the Scottish went over and the Germans really took to us, and I think we're obviously friendly. We like a drink or two, maybe too much. We were joking, me and my brother, we were saying that the soccer game got in the way of the party. So that's the kind of mentality. But I think that if you look at all the different countries, there's clips gone viral, the South Koreans in Mexico, the Japanese in Dallas, there's so many, countries are coming over. And, I was saying last night, one of the things that I think is really unique about this country is that the stadiums are out of this world. The stadiums that we're playing, that these games are being played in are, they're so big. They're, larger than life in regards to the way that you're sitting and the amount of people that are in there. So I think America is such a good place to hold a World Cup. The infrastructure's here. And I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes up to how good the country is and, how amazing sports events are here. In the States.
I made that comment to somebody else. Really, Tottenham's stadium is the only one in England that, even the big stadiums like Anfield and Old Trafford, those are older stadiums. Yeah. And the amenities and everything else you hear this a lot from athletic directors about they want to have the premium events and that be able to take care of their fans. You really don't have that anywhere else in the world, or you're building stadiums like the Saudis are going to do for the next one that will probably be abandoned 60 days after the event.
I think just the infrastructure as well, how cool these cities are, all of these, Boston, Miami, Dallas, California, Seattle, there's so much to do outside of soccer. The infrastructure's there, and I think it's just the world's games being brought to such a good country. And I think from my standpoint, the Scottish, it was a short trip, but it was definitely a memorable trip. We left our stamp, and then we were kicked out of the tournament pretty quick. But I think everyone's still talking about the impact. We were almost better off the field than we were on the field. We were a force off the field, and we weren't as good on the field.
If you're getting a goal for each pint drank, I mean, you'd be hoisting the trophy at the end.
Yeah, we were celebrating the other goals as well. That's the point we were getting to in the Brazil game.
All right. So, United States gets eliminated, and I've been through this a number of times, right? It's always, what do we have to do as Americans to get better? And my answer is always, I don't know that we can, to be totally honest with you. You played in the academy system back home, right? And you told me you were in the Queen's Park Rangers Academy.
Yeah.
I want you to, as best you can for our listeners, explain how the academy system works over in England and in Europe.
Yeah, it would be, the best way I can describe it is it would be the equivalency of like the Memphis Grizzlies having youth basketball teams that would basically try and farm players to then eventually get into the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. So the main goal of the academy is to produce professional players. So a lot of the players that were in the Scotland national team, were either my teammates or I played against them in my youth career. So it's really the aim of the academy is to produce pros. That's it. Either, Premier League pros, Scottish Premier League pros, whatever it is. So yeah, that would be the best way I can describe it, as it would be like a Grizzlies farm system that feeds into the NBA.
And how do you get scouted for that?
You get scouted at a young age. So I think I was scouted at my first club I went into. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. So that's how young it starts. And they pick players that they think are, high potential players. And then you sign contracts each year. And, at the end of each year, you can get released or you can get signed on. So it's constantly changing as well. Very rarely does a team stay. A U9 team in an academy very rarely makes it to U18. There's chopping and changing every single year. And
it's a situation where it's not, you think about sports here in this country. If you play soccer, it's one of those things where like you go for an hour or two after school. That's not what this is. This is kind of a lifestyle thing. Yeah. This academy it encompasses everything.
Yeah, it's like you'd be training every night, you'd have a game every weekend, you would be going year round. Obviously, like with me being at Northwest, I'm in the college system out here. That college system does not exist in Europe. Right. So, it really is pro or nothing. It's go pro or bust. The way that I always like to say it when people bring up this question in this debate is I really think the European system tailors to the 1% that makes it, and doesn't tailor to the 99% that do not make it. And I think the US system tailors to the 99% that, probably won't make it as professionals, and maybe doesn't tailor to that 1%. So I think the college system out here, for me, the college system is really, really good. Like, obviously here at Northwest, we transform so many students' lives each year. In academies, it's so much more cutthroat, right? Like, if you're not going to make the cut, you're out. So, I think it's just they're just two completely different systems. It would be like comparing, the NFL to the Canadian Football League. Like, it's two completely different animals.
So that ran over just a touch. We're going to go into the next segment with that as well, though. That conversation is not nearly over, but some really interesting stuff from him. And the next question I'm going to ask him, just to set it up, is, as he described the system that they use over in Europe, and that's how they put things together for their teams. Can we do that here in America? Because the youth sports system in this country is kind of the opposite, right? It's more about the people who run the teams versus developing players. And, I don't know if that's going to change or not, because I've yet to meet the person who's like, yes, I'm making a good living, let me change that. Tends to be people tend to lock into what they're doing there. So that's going to be the tough ask for the Americans over the next, 4 years. Are you willing to completely upend your and look, MLS is going to have to be a part of that as well. You may have to finally have to create that relegation system so that you have you have motivation to get better. I don't know if we're going to do it or not. So Coach Beatty's going to give us his thoughts on that and talk a little bit about the actual games that are being played and the teams that are left in the World Cup. Earlier today, France knocking out Morocco. They're on to the semifinals. Mbappe and Dembele score. I would say stop me if you've heard that before, but you might not have. It's very fair that you might not have heard that. That's cool. So we'll get back to that conversation with James Beatty, Northwest Mississippi soccer coach, in just a minute.
From the Seabrook or Sports Talk Mississippi. Now.
Let's go back to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. My conversation with James Beatty of Northwest Community College. That sort of begs the question, right? Because the Americans, we would like to do better. We seem to have found this stopping block where we get to the quarters and that's as far as we can go. We run into a team like Belgium that's full of players like you just described, guys who have been playing the sport since they were 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
The youth system in this country, we'll just call it what it is. It's a for-profit system. It's the people who run the teams are trying to make money, whereas in Europe, the teams own the youth system, so they're trying to get players.
Yeah.
Is there a path in this country to change the way we handle youth soccer and get a system in place that allows us to find these guys and turn them into world-class players?
I think that the short answer is yes. I think the academy system, that comes from the clubs. So Queen's Park were willing to pay for, all of us to go through this academy system free of cost. So it needs to come. It would be the equivalency of a professional team having a farm system, and I know some of them have started it, and they are in place in some of the MLS clubs. But like anything, it's going to take years to get that structure right. I think coaching's a massive thing out here. Like you know as well as anyone with running SuperTalk, you have so many sports. So everyone's got so many different backgrounds, like some people's backgrounds baseball, some people's backgrounds basketball, football. I think for soccer coaches to continue to develop, that's what it's going to take, because I think at the younger ages in US soccer, we don't have coaches that have coached or played at a high level at that 7, 8, 9 and 10-year-old phase that these other countries do, because it's like, it's religion back home where everyone plays soccer. So I think it's just a process. It's going to take time. I do think the finances is here, the structure is here, the facilities are here, everything's here in place. It's just a matter of giving it time to get to that point where you're matching up against, like what you say, some of the other countries in Europe and South America.
So the other question would be, if we don't change, is there a way for the United States to advance beyond where they are in the game?
I would say it's going to be hard, just because I think the other country, I think what another concept is, it's not, you can't catch up to something that's continuing to run, if that makes sense. Like, these other countries are also continuing to get better. So as our facilities, our structure, our players have gotten better over, let's just say, the last 10 years, the other countries have equally got better over the last 10 years. So I think it's really hard to say if we continue to do what we're going to do, we will catch these other countries, because ultimately, we're going to have to do something where we are producing more world-class players to be on that stage.
So I'm sure you're probably already seeing this, but I feel like Manchester City is about to take a big bump in popularity in this country, which I'm not a fan of, obviously. I know that you aren't either. But Holland has been the breakout star of this World Cup. Now, what he's doing is no surprise to either one of us, right? We watch him every weekend. Yeah. But it's been fun to watch everybody else learn about this guy. Yeah. Other than the fact that he is just a physical freak of nature at playing the position he is, what makes him such a good goal scorer?
I think it's just natural. I think when the ball comes in the box, you can tell he's kind of one step ahead. I think the unique thing about Norway, there's been so many stories in this World Cup, from, Cape Verde to Norway, There's been bigger teams that have been knocked out earlier. But I think for me, it's just his anticipation. I think every country produces one or two world-class stars every 10, 15 years. Like with Wales, it was Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale kind of carried Wales for, a long period of time, and it looks as if Haaland's going to do that. I think the big thing for Haaland is just the fact that he's like just a personality off the field as well. People can really relate to him. He doesn't take things too seriously, and I think he's someone that is going to continue to get better as well. I was listening to a show or a podcast the other day that, his numbers, if they continue to go the way they're going, both domestically and internationally, he could break all of these records for goal scoring in the next 5 to 10 years. The numbers that he's putting up, both in the Premier League and for the national team, is insane.
He is one of the very rare players in any sport that I like watching and that isn't on my team.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like, I don't like it. But I just enjoy watching Haaland because he's inevitable, I guess is the word.
Yeah. You can put money on him scoring for sure.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment, but this feels like an elite World Cup in terms of the quality of games. We've had so many late finishes, so many, 90th minute goals. We've had some penalty shootouts. The Cape Verde game was ridiculous with Argentina. The Argentina comeback against Egypt was ridiculous. It just feels like maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment, but this has to be one of the best World Cups that I can remember. Your memory might go a little further back than mine. What do you think?
Nah, I think for me this is the best World Cup that I've seen. I think the dramatic ends. I think a lot of goals have been scored in the dying minutes. There's been a lot of penalty shootouts as well. I think as well, at the start, I wasn't really sure about them adding more teams, but I think that has added a more jeopardy to the tournament, and it's really helped it. And then again, I go back to it. I think just the fact that the USA has got the infrastructure and the stadiums, and people are coming over and experiencing stuff that we do in everyday life, and they're just amazed at it. So I just think it's a really good country to hold a World Cup, and for me, it's been the best one in my lifetime for sure.
This next question may hurt your feelings just a little bit, but is it coming home this year?
It cannot. If it does, then we when we talk next, we just cannot talk about England.
Just don't bring it up.
England winning the World Cup. No, they've got. Listen, it's kind of like France, right? They've got the depth to probably, if they get a few injuries, they're still good, right? We were just talking about Haaland. If Haaland goes down, who then scores 8 goals for Norway?
Right.
I think England have got Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham that are a little bit above the rest, but the rest just look so interchangeable. And it pains me to say it, but I do think they've got a really good chance to potentially win this World Cup.
So that's the last question then. Who at the end of this, who's still standing? I think France is the easy pick.
Yeah,
but they have a tough one today. We're about 2 hours from kickoff with them in Morocco.
Yeah,
Morocco is such a fun team.
Yeah,
they just play well. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I think if I was to guess, I think France will go through from this side of the bracket, and then I think England will go through from this side of the bracket. So I think it'll be a France v England final. I think it could go either way. If you were to push me, I would say France. I just think they've got too much. I think the front four that they've got, Mbappe and Elise right now, they're just hitting different levels. And again, similar to England, the depth that they have, the subs that they're making they're crazy substitutions. You're subbing off one world class player for another world class player. It's insane the depth that they have.
We were just talking about that before we came on here. I was like, it kills me when they bring off Doué, who starts for Paris Saint-Germain, and they bring on Barcola, who starts for Paris Saint-Germain.
It like the equivalency of like in the US, it would be like bringing off Steph Curry and putting on LeBron James in their prime. Yeah. They're just subbing straight superstars for each other, and it's
ridiculous.
It's crazy the depth that they have.
This has been a pleasure, Coach. I really appreciate your time today. We might do a Premier League one when we get a little closer to the start of the season.
Always happy to jump on with you.
All right, James Beatty, head soccer coach at Northwest Community College. We'll actually see you, I think, in about a month or so when we're there for the Centennial celebration. Talk to you then.
Looking forward to it. Have a great day.
All right, we'll be back. That was really enjoyable for me. I sometimes take these little pet projects on when I have the license to do so. I think you guys, if you're complaining, you should just be thinking right now, it wasn't pro wrestling. At least it wasn't pro wrestling. So really fun. And, of course, the World Cup quarterfinals going on right now. We talked about that France game. France has won, so they have advanced to the semis. They will take on the winner of Spain and Belgium, which I believe is tomorrow. And then we'll have a full weekend of football. It's good times. I wish I could get some of you guys into it. The pageantry and the excitement that some of you guys have enjoyed. It happens every weekend. There are games like this every single weekend, and you could, I see y'all's complaints on the text line about College Game Day and SEC Nation and how boring they are and how much you don't like. Don't watch. Just do what I do. Watch actual sports on a Saturday morning.
The one thing I did like, I watched the Belgium-U.S. match, of course. The one thing I did like was the lack of commercial breaks.
It's great. And when you talk about when we get out of this, those hydration breaks aren't happening. So you get a full 45 minutes plus of sport. There are no commercial breaks. There is no.
I'm surprised by it. That's the first one I've ever watched, probably.
Right, but
from beginning to end.
Yeah. There aren't commercial. From the time, there's two things I love about it is from the time the ball is kicked till the halftime whistle, there's no breaks. We're going. And then the other thing is, and this is true about European sports, when they say that game kicks off at noon, it kicks off at noon. Not 12:15, not 12:25, not after Tom Rinaldi finishes up his little puff piece. Noon is when you will hear the whistle blow and the ball gets kicked and we're off and running. And I appreciate that from the Europeans. I'll give them that. The trains don't run on time in Europe, but the soccer matches do. We'll wrap it up with you when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi.
It's time to get real. Real sports talk for Mississippi.
It's time for you to get real with it.
Sports Talk Mississippi continues on Super Talk Mississippi.
Back on Sports Talk Mississippi, I'm Brian Hadad. Will East is in Studio X with Michael Borky doing God knows what. Who knows what that guy's up to? He did it under the guise of family vacation, but maybe he's part of this alternative revenue generating. Maybe he's working behind you. Maybe he's working against y'all Ole Miss fans. I don't know.
Alternative revenue.
You see, Rebel fans, I'm the devil you know. I'll tell you to your face. Borky, though, he works in the shadows. I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything.
What could it be with LSU? I'm just pondering. And, dear listener, here's what I came up with.
Oh, you got something.
I'm dead serious.
You got something. All right, go ahead.
I think it's a tax. Imagine if they charged like some sort of sales tax in the Baton Rouge area.
That's so interesting because not everybody that lives in Louisiana is an LSU fan.
No.
So do I have to pay the tax?
And that money goes to NIL.
There are some restaurants here in Starkville that, now it was the Bulldog Initiative at the time, which is kind of been folded into the state 1878 thing now. But where you could round up your check and that money would go directly to, it's a fantastic idea, but it was optional. So maybe that's it. They're like, we're going to put this on every business in the state of Louisiana.
If you put a 0.5% tax on
adds up
every, hotels, alcohol, Baton Rouge, whoa.
I get it,
Whoa.
Yeah. Next year, you're like, LSU has signed 28 five-star players.
They signed Aaron Judge just for the fun of it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I'm fascinated.
But the fact they're meeting at the governor's mansion kind of...
yeah. So.
And what politician down there is going to...
Oh, no, you can't stand in the way. You're going to lose your job.
You'll lose your job.
So, yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Before we go, one of the great traditions in sports, the Stanley Cup. So when your team wins the Stanley Cup, all of the members of your team, their names are engraved into the Stanley Cup. So they're running out of space. They're having to add tiers. It's like a huge wedding cake at this point.
Yeah.
Because, there's so many players on there. So the Carolina Hurricanes, this year's Stanley Cup winner, right? Owned by Tom Dundon. Tom had his name, his wife's name, Verushka, by the way, and their 5 children's names all engraved into the cup. First, they're above the players.
That's okay.
So here are the names. The first 7 names on the cup are Tom Dundon, Verushka Dundon, Caden Dundon, Dax Dundon, Drew Dundon, Blake Dundon, and Tegan Dundon.
Tegan.
Yeah, Tegan Dundon, first of their name. They're one of those dragon riders. I don't watch that show, but I've heard about it. So, king of the Andals and the first men. Their names are all above the actual players.
That's okay.
Is it okay?
Would they have won without the owner paying their salaries?
Look, some owner could have done it. They could have had anybody can own, any billionaire can own a team. They got there and do they should if they look on the trophy is still weird, especially the kids. I always make that. There's a great joke.
Is a little bit.
There's a great joke about it's one thing when you're the owner of a franchise, but when you pass away and it's your kids' team now, it's like they win the Super Bowl. Like, what a journey for you! Your dad died and you took over the team. Tell us about it. Like, what are we doing here? So, I just thought that was weird. Like seeing it on the cup. You think about the Stanley Cup. Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Patrick Waugh, Maurice Rocket Rashad,
Bobby Orr,
Gordie Howe. All these names are on there. And now Tegan Dundon.
Who's probably 12.
Yeah. Probably might be a girl.
Yeah. We don't know.
That's an interesting idea. I don't know if any other team has done this, but is Verushka Dundon? I can't stop saying Verushka. Is she the first woman whose name is on the Stanley Cup? Might be.
I don't know.
Better than zero chance, I would say. I don't know if any other
but
team
they've done that stuff before. I remember somebody put their dad's name on there one time. There's some some weird stuff happen with that Stanley Cup.
Okay. Yes, there are currently over a dozen women's names. The first one was Marguerite Norris, who won it as the president of the Detroit. But she was the president of the club. Also notable names, Sonia Scurfield from the Calgary Flames. Marie Denise DeBartolo York. Had to be related to Eddie DeBartolo. A few others as well. So
the Stanley Cup, by the way.
Yeah.
The best trophy in sports.
The cup and the post-game handshake that they only do at the end of the playoffs, two of the best traditions in sports. All right, tomorrow I'll be live in Corinth, Mississippi. Annual Slug Burger Festival. And apparently I have tickets to see Creed.
Tickets to give away.
To give away. I have tickets as well. So.
Oh.
There you go. Will Easton and I will be back with you tomorrow. Until then, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.